Welcome back to the Nullified Take channel and Reality Realness here on YouTube. You are joined here today by myself, Chris, the host of the channel, and also Chantel and Drew. We are back to talk about the challenge. That's right, it is Friday evening. So get yourself comfortable and strap yourselves in for a good hour to an hour and a half of some ranting, talking about all the moments, did the stars play out? Were we all happy with that? Everything. We're going to talk about everything right here, right now. Chantel, how are you feeling so far about, I guess, the finale? We've had our first portion of it. Overall, if you had to give it a rating out of 10, where are you sitting at the moment?
Out of 10, I mean, it's okay. Like, I like it. Obviously, I like the final. I like the people that are in it. It's usually very exciting, but I don't know if I'm enjoying how the structure is playing out. So if I'm putting on a rating, maybe a 6 out of 10. Because now it doesn't seem like the people that are on the bottom are going to be able to make it up and get to the top. So it's kind of like, why are they bothering even doing the final, since it's kind of only, at least on the women's side, between the top 3 people, actually, and the men's side as well, with the top 3 guys. Like the bottom people are not, I don't think, have a chance to win at this point, unless there's like a triple your points type thing or something that we don't know about the structure. So I'm a little bit underwhelmed with that. I'm underwhelmed by the fact that people can be paired up again with the same people that they were paired up with. And so with that, they're paired up with the people that are on the bottom, so they're not able to even get ahead of themselves there. So obviously the finals usually exciting. I'm hoping that maybe day 1 will have nothing to do with day 2, and day 2 will be what the actual final is, kind of like what they've been doing in the last couple of seasons. And so that could maybe change things up for me. But right now the structure isn't really doing it for me, but I am enjoying all the challenges within the final.
I feel like, Drew, if there's anybody from the producers that ever maybe stumble across this channel and maybe they listen to the criticisms that we had of last season's finale and they're listening to Chantel right now, they've got their hands in their hair, they're pulling it out and they're like, what do we have to do to satisfy the fans? Because last season we were complaining about the fact that, people were doing all these different things. They were winning these legs prior to the finale day, but they only had like a very small portion of a lead going into the last leg, which ultimately decided who was going to win this season. But they're now twisting it up. They're doing something where they're like, you need to be the most consistent across the whole finale to win it. You need to get these points. Dare I say, like, I get Chantel's criticism in regards to Mark sitting on 3 points, Kellyanne sitting on 5 points, where Wes has got 18 and Janae's got 15. They're so far behind, but it is also their own doing because they, to be honest, have sucked so far in this finale. How do you feel, Drew, about the point system so far? I think between the two of us, I'm probably higher on it.
You're probably the highest.
Yeah. I'm the highest. I'm a Wes. I'm at 18 points, and Chantel is a 3. She's at the Mark level of points on this finale at the moment. Or maybe I'm over exaggerating a little bit. I feel like you're maybe more in the middle, 50-50. There's things you don't like and things you do like. But Drew, over to you. What do you think of this?
I think you nailed it. I mean, I don't even think I need to say anything. I think I'm in the middle of both of you. No, I think that there are some things that I'm questioning still. Like, going into the finals, I'm kind of questioning, like, why are they running in pairs, but then they're going against people in individually. I think they just want to add a partner portion, but they didn't want them to be a part of the checkpoints like we've seen in past seasons with points or anything like that. So that's like a little confusing to me, but I like how close the final is so far. Like, the point totals aren't like outrageous besides the people who are in dead last place. And like you were saying, Chris, they are doing that on their own volition. So I do think that I want to see what the rest of the finals look like to get the bigger picture. Cause right now I feel like we've only gotten 2 checkpoints heading into a 3rd checkpoint, and we don't know exactly what the whole thing looks like. I do think that this is much better than, say, last season's, but I'm still trying to pick it into whether it's better than the first seasons. And I'm worried. The one thing I am worried about is that TJ didn't say like whoever has the most points at the end wins. Like, he didn't say that outright. So I'm worried that all the stuff that they're doing is that when they wake up, he says, okay, you just killed yourself on the first day going head to head on like 15 checkpoints. Wes, you have 30 points and you have the most by everybody. you get a 1 minute head start up this volcano. Good luck. And then I'm like, no, that doesn't sound great. So I'm hoping they have something better for day 2 than what I'm worried about.
Yeah, I'm very worried about that as well, because I watched it twice as well. I couldn't figure out exactly how the finale part's going to work. And they like to keep something up their sleeve. So you could have Wes accumulating 45 points. He could be accumulating all the points going into the finale. And he's like, congratulations, Wes, you've got a 30-second or a 25-second head start running to this final puzzle that you need to solve. Because that's how the challenge works. I mean, even the stars kind of fell flat, but we'll definitely get into that. I was just going to say, Chris, coming from my head at minute 5 already in the podcast here, I feel like that's a new record, and asking me to suck less. But I do feel like, Chris, there's more people that
No,
are
I think that was
high
your
on this
quote.
point.
I think he was quoting you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's the quote.
He was
That
quoting
she
you,
gave
basically
you,
being
yeah.
like saying about Kellyanne, like he was making up a quote for you.
Okay, I get it. I thought it was like, Chris, horrible take
No,
early on here that you like the finale.
Like
That's good.
your
Thanks for clarifying.
perspective is, can you try sucking
That'd be
less so you could do better on this
record
final,
time.
Kellyanne?
Yeah, I was going to say, I normally get called out by the live at
Se-
some point, but that would have been like a record time of being called out in the 5th minute. It's like, where do we go from here? It's only going to get
7
worse because I've got a lot of other terrible takes we're going to get into it at some
Oh,
point.
boy.
I've got them listed. I've got a whole notepad of terrible takes. But yeah, I mean, let's get back to the start here of the episode. We left on a cliffhanger. I think, Drew, you called it last week. You said maybe the reason we didn't see it is because it's going to be anticlimactic. It's going to be a walk in the park for one person. Nehemiah runs away with it. And I think it's quite ironic that Derrick has been in one of the best pole wrestles of all time, one of the best eliminations, and now also probably the worst, the most anticlimactic. So he's gone from a legendary moment of being a beast at that challenge to absolutely getting walked over here. Where do you sit, Drew, on, I guess, the whole thing? Did we need to pause the episode? Did we need to wait for this episode to start in such a way? I feel like they could have pushed that 30 seconds into the previous, if it was even 30 seconds long, they could have pushed it into the previous episode, and we could have just started with a finale here. Because to me, it was very anticlimactic.
Well, I said in I think my review and recap that they should have left off when TJ said, you all should be very proud of yourselves. After Nehemiah and Derrick went 2 minutes, and then Kayla and Kellyanne was just like, no, don't worry about it. And then he calls everybody, like he makes everybody say like, hey, congratulations, you all should be very proud to making it this far to your next challenge. And it starts tonight. And then that's when we get the shocked faces. We get all the confessionals from everybody going like, what is TJ saying? We're not at the finals. What are we doing? And then he said, everybody join me down here right now. And then that's when we see people descending the stairs in slow-mo. And then boom, hit it with the to be continued. Then we're sitting here on last Friday night being like, what's going to happen? Is it going to be a purge? We're all trying to come up with some theories and everything, instead of going like, they're not going to do a women's elimination, right? No. So what are they going to do? How long can this go for, kind of thing? It's like we already knew what was going to happen the first 5 minutes. Just let us get past that. And then let's get into something that's actually thrilling.
Well, and also with the whole Derrick situation, like if he had just gone against Wes and lost, at least he would have still kept his legendary status, right? Like he would have been like, I gotta go do it. I gotta take this guy on. It's been brewing for so many years, win or lose. Like we need to have this rematch because the fans want it. I want it. We want, like, you know what I mean? Like it could have been a huge moment. And if he loses, like he did in this situation, at least it would have been with him going out with, like, his head held high instead of being like, I'm going to take the easy route and lose. So I think that
it looked horrible on him. Like, I mean, at least with Wes, he has lost to Wes before. So there's like no humiliation to lose to Wes again because he has beaten you at that once before. But I know we went really hard on Derrick. There were a few people in the comments after last podcast that said we were here for the Derrick slander last week and he deserved it. And I don't know, we could like double or triple down on Derrick right now because of how he went out. But I feel like a lot of what we said last episode kind of came to fruition here in this episode. There's no need to go too hard on the guy already lost here. But what's the way forward here for Derrick? Like, what can Derrick do moving forward, Drew? It looks like you've got another point there as well. But I also want you to consider, like, TJ said, we'll see you back. You're a legend. We want to see you back in the game. If I was Derrick, I would be working on some stuff. Like, I don't know what he needs to do. Like, I feel like his strengths have become not that he's not that intimidating anymore when it comes to elimination. So how does he change his game coming back?
He needs to change his mentality first and foremost. I don't think his head was in the game realistically. So I would just say that he just needs to know what the audience, take in mind what the audience wants to do, but also don't jeopardize your own game just for the audience sake. But also you got to go in with the mentality. He had all day to prepare. He knew Mark was going to call him out. It wasn't like, oh, well, if Wes goes in, I don't know who I'm going to be going up against, Wes or Nehemiah. It was his choice. So that was just like frustrating. The one thing I did want to say is if we remember, or if anybody saw the Wes tweet saying like, I apologize for getting in the heat of the moment for what I said about Derrick's family or something and everything. Well, Derrick decided to piggyback and quote tweet it and do this like, I'm sorry for all the fans for who wanted the Wes versus Derrick 2. I'm sorry I wasn't able to give that to you. And then he said, I was like, get out of here, dude. Like, I rolled my eyes so hard and I was just like, I want to report that tweet because it was just like so infuriating. Like, you're sorry. Just nobody asked for it. Just get out of here, dude. Like, seriously.
You didn't do it, so you can't go and try to get like clout from it. Like, you should have done it.
Exactly.
You didn't.
Exactly.
You didn't.
Yeah, Killer A's here saying, I knew Derrick and Omar were going in because I watched Drew's trailer breakdown and it was in the first trailer of the season. So they spoiled the last elimination for us in the trailer. So they have to do better with those trailers moving forward as well. In general here, I feel like most of the people in the live, I'm reading the comments, they're all kind of saying Derrick is washed up. It's time to retire. There's a lot of people that are quite low on him. I'm sure there are still some Derrick fans out there. There will be one or two of them, you know, that will want to see Derrick come back better. I'm just hoping that whatever he does coming back next season, like, just be the person that you were in the beginning. People want you to be the one that calls out Wes. They want you to be the one that calls out the legends in the game that's not afraid to go up against the best. I understand he's older now. He's got a family. He was trying to take the smart route, but man, he's not good with his words. I forgot who said it. Like, you know, he needs to be charged every single time he talks because he just puts his mouth in it every single time.
I think with Derrick, I think he is unable to do well in a new school format. So where it's more individual or teams, it seems that he was better when it was a team environment. Sorry, I meant pairs, not teams. Like a team environment, he was able to do better. He could be the front man for his team. He could win it for his team. And now that he has to kind of play for himself, he never really did any of the politicking. He never really made those social connections. He always sat on the fence and was like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what my team wants me to do. So I think that he is not a strong enough personality of his own to go for his own motivations. And like he's just a better team player than he is for himself. And I think that unless he switches that way of wanting to play and being cutthroat and going in there and like making decisions for his gameplay, making connections, making alliances, like unless he starts doing that, I think that he's just going to always be steamrolled and we're not going to really enjoy him because he hasn't evolved to the new style of gaming.
Yeah, I agree. Looking at this, we kind of touched on it a little bit. You know, we had a female elimination that was going to be second. We normally see the females go down first, so we knew something was up because he was like, you guys stand to the side. We'll get the guys in here first. They go all the way into the ring. They hold on to the pole, and TJ says, gotcha. Not doing it today, you know. And I feel like TJ, he every time he's now using this whole thing about we may have an elimination, and it's like, we're not doing it. He needs to double down a little bit further because people are kind of catching on to it. So he was like, I need you to put on the gear. I need you to actually get in the ring before I told you I got you. You know, so what's it going to be next time, TJ? Are we going to have them actually start wrestling in the first round, go to the ground, and then he's like, whoa, cut it out. We're not doing it. Like, I feel like every time he's just going to have to go that little bit further to try and get people, you know, and no one's falling for the tricks. Like if someone gets injured, we know there isn't going to be elimination. So I feel like at this point, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
Well, I was thinking that like maybe they could use like this was before I knew what the stars were going to do, but I was like, maybe they could have done, you know, the elimination and like they get some stars. And so like they could at least be fighting for something in the end. But realizing now that the stars, it's like whoever has the most stars gets 5 points. Like, so it doesn't even matter. Like, the star is the stupidest thing ever. Like, who cares about 5 points? Like, I mean, it does matter, but I don't know, the fact that it's just a person that's gone down a couple of times that has these 5 points, it's a little bit annoying.
I do want to just applaud them for trying to do something that we've spoken about a few times, right? We've mentioned that throughout the season, if somebody does well, or like we've normally said, if it was dailies, like I would like to have daily wins count for something going into a finale where, if you've had daily wins, each daily win gives you a point head start in the final.
It's like
because
being
it
the
promotes you
winner.
trying to
Being a daily winner, you don't get anything. But if you are a loser and you just happen to be victorious because somebody stubbed their toe and they had to go out on a DQ, like you get their stars and you get to have an point advantage for somebody that has been playing better than you the whole season. Sorry, I cut you off.
So no, but it's exactly what I'm thinking. So it actually promotes competitiveness, and you're not going to sit back like Wes claims he did this whole season. He said, I didn't try until the end, but I think that it would promote you wanting to win if you knew there was going to be a bonus point system at the end where you get some sort of an advantage because you've won more dailies. The only thing is it's tweaked a little bit off here because they do it on people that actually goes into the arena and fights for their life in the game. You don't need any more motivation to win in the arena. I mean, if you lose, you go home, right? So why give points around that? So I get the frustration a little bit about it. I think what they did was good to a certain degree and bad to other degree. They just needed to be more open about the stars from the start, I feel like, Drew. What's your sort of thinking around this? Are you again in the middle here? Like, I kind of feel like I'm in the middle because I feel like I get where they were going. I feel like there was some positives to it, but it fell flat. It was just a little bit off.
Yeah, it was definitely a little off, especially for how much they hyped it throughout the season. I do want to say that I watched the challenge YouTube video where they put up like the first 3 minutes of the challenge USA, and TJ says in there that I think that they learned from this season that if you win a daily challenge or if you go into elimination and win, you get $1,000 and need 5,000 to make it into TJ's final or be able to run TJ's final. And to me, that's the better balance of this because it adds in new layers. You want to win the dailies. It's not just because I don't want to go into the elimination or I don't want to get last. It's I want to win that star. So people like think about the ring toss daily challenge. Who would have been actually gearing up for it? They wouldn't have just been like, oh, I'm gonna throw it because now I want these stars. I don't know what the stars do. I want to win instead of throwing it to Mark or throwing it to Kayla or something. Now it's like, okay, I'm going to go all out and try to win that. And then it also adds in, if somebody keeps on winning the daily challenges and racking up more stars, that puts a bigger target on their back. Say like Brad, who has like 5 stars halfway through this game because he keeps winning. People are like, well, now I would just want to throw him in and see if I could take him out and get all of his stars instead of him sailing towards the end. And he's cool with that because he doesn't know what the stars do. He doesn't want to risk it. He just wants to have a seat at the dinner table. I don't care about these stars, kind of like what Nehemiah was saying. So I think it would have added a lot more.
The only stars that matter was when you went with the person that has the most stars. Like, so even that doesn't really pan out necessarily because, like, say Brad wanted to go down and get some stars, like maybe he wouldn't be able to go down against the person that would have the most stars for it to be a risk that he'd be willing to take.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Chris had a great comment that I had up here just a little while ago that, Chris says that the way Nehemiah didn't win a single daily and they went into one elim and then still had the most stars with the bonus points going into the season is kind of like, why are we rewarding him for not winning anything throughout the whole season? He just goes in at the right time, takes out the right person, and he's got a head start going into the final. And then anybody else who's got any stars, that doesn't count for anything. So all that hard work of winning summer limbs, that's just gone. Let's move on and talk a little bit about the, challenge that they had to do here. They end up going down there. TJ says, congratulations, you made it to the next challenge. He continues to tease them a little bit. They're all nervous. What does this mean? You don't want to be last. You could potentially be out. They have to do a memory wall challenge, I guess, where there's a lot of photos of previous finales. There's questions being asked about it. And ultimately, this is going to determine the order in which people are going to start. There's going to be 30-second intervals between different people here. Did you like the fact that we pushed a little extra challenge in here for the extra drama? How did you guys feel about this as a whole? I'm assuming for people that are big fans of the challenge, they probably really appreciated the fact that they did this memory wall, but I feel like there wasn't enough of a focus for us as the fans on it. Like, I feel like you could have done more of like a montage, like as you're looking at the questions, who ate what at a final.
You can
show
see
us
the recap or the
exactly,
past
just for
footage.
like a throwback. Like, I feel like they could have done it a little bit better. I didn't even realize that the wall was there, to be honest, before this challenge. It kind of went over my head.
I definitely didn't realize that the wall was there. I agree with you that if they're going to bother showing us these pictures of these monumentous moments from the past, like, can you show us the clip of it, please? They were doing a lot of filler this episode anyways. They could have filled an extra couple of minutes with like some footage of the past. I definitely liked it. I don't know what it is, but Kayla and the whole cheating scandal really annoyed me. I don't mind the cheating because like that, I don't think they said in the rules that they were not allowed to look at each other's board. And we know that in the challenge, like after that, that you do a puzzle, you always kind of break it apart so nobody can look at your answers. So I know that she wasn't necessarily cheating, but the fact that she's like clearly like looking over there at the answers and then gets it and then pretends like she didn't do it, it was just so Kayla being Kayla, and it just reminded me how much I don't enjoy what she brings.
Yeah, Drew, how do you feel about that whole situation? Because it was probably the biggest drama of this episode, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that was the most thrilling part of the beginning portion, I think. It was just weird. It was weird that she didn't cop to it. I thought it was just like eye rolling when she was like, I just guessed on all of them. And then I love that the cameras picked up or that microphones picked up. I just need one more. And then she just kept on doing it. It was like, I don't know if she cheated in high school or in middle school or something, but that's just not how you cheat. Like you can't be that blatant about it. Like, my God.
And if you're gonna be blatant about it, just own up.
Yeah.
So annoying.
Especially at the end.
Just use your eyes. Don't shift your whole body, like if you're shifting your whole body.
Peripherals. Gotta do that.
Yeah, my thought on it was, if production didn't stop it,
loved it,
wasn't
right? You loved it.
Well, no. If production didn't, you're like, this is going to be Chris's first bad take for the episode. No, but if production didn't stop it, then it's not cheating.
I don't care about it being cheating. It's her owning up to her.
I agree.
Looking
I
at
agree
the
on that.
answers and being like, I didn't
that.
do that. We're friends, aren't we? Like, I really like you. I'd never do that to you. It's like, well, you did.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree with that part of it. So for me, to readdress it, like, if production didn't stop it, it's not cheating. It's probably wasn't defined in the rules that she couldn't do it, but she should have owned up to it. She should have had a backbone. She didn't have a backbone. I didn't like that, but I also fault Naya. This is why I don't think Naya will win this final. I don't think Naya will ever win a final, because I feel like mentally Naya is very weak. Like, she let this, like, she wasn't eliminated out of the game, but this bothered her all the way into the final. She was still holding this grudge. She was playing Kayla. She didn't let this slide off her back. Some of the best sports players in the world have to deal with setbacks. And this is a sport to a certain degree when you're out there playing a finale in a competitive environment. You have to take it on the chest and you have to move on. You've got to play to the ref. If the ref is not stopping something, then, well, next time learn how to do it yourself. Like, play to the ref, play to TJ, whatever TJ is deciding out there. And getting hyper-focused on Kayla, I don't think is helping her in the finale either at this stage. So I know she's second at this point, but I will say that for me, I think she's not going to win it. I don't think she's mentally strong enough to win this final.
I would have to say, though, like, to her defense, that she's come a long way. She would have been DQ'd for this thing. She would have gotten into a physical fight or, like, done something that was completely offside and blown way out of proportion. And so the fact that she only let it fester for a little bit, talked about it a few people, and didn't get herself kicked off the show and became her own worst enemy for something that didn't really have anything to do with her. Like, I do think that there was a lot of growth, and I think that her, her strength mentally has improved, because in the past there's no way that she would have even been competing in the final.
And I would say that also, to Naya's defense, I would say that she had no idea what that challenge was for. Maybe she
Right? Could
thought
have
it
been
was
the
a
Elim.
purge. So
Mhm.
just coming
Yes.
off of that moment of being like, I can't believe she cheated. I'm gonna get out of this game now, right before the finals, because somebody cheated off of me. And now I'm not even gonna be able to run it. So where I think it stayed with her a little longer than what we all would like it to. But it's kind of like when
Yes.
you're like hanging out in life and then somebody does something to you and it's just like, or you're playing Mario Kart. I know, Chris, you don't know this, but when you're playing Mario Kart and you get hit
Hey,
with the
I
meteor
actually
shot
played
right
Mario
before
Kart
the
last
finish line.
weekend. Something
Yo,
changed.
let's
I went to
go.
go play Mario Kart. I went to one of my my best friend's house, and his son had Mario Kart, and I was like, "No ways!" I just talked about Mario Kart on a podcast, and I ended up jumping on there, and now I know what it's about. I know about the little turtle
Oh,
shells that you're
oh,
throwing
right, you had
around.
never played it before.
I've never played it
No, you
before, so
never.
yeah.
I
Breaking
forgot.
news! You heard it here first. This is the content. everybody
Okay, so
needs
how
to-
was it? What was your favorite character to play as?
I was so boring. I played Mario most of the time.
Mario's kind of
Yeah.
wild. He's kind of, yeah.
Yeah, there was. I
Kinda-
mean, to me, it was fun. It was the first time I've ever played it. I now know what the hype is about, all the different things you can pick up and sabotage other drivers and things like that out there. Yeah, I liked it. It was a good game. So now I know what it's about.
Did you finish it as Mario? That was that
No,
was
no,
like
no,
my
no.
challenge was like I would try to finish it as each character, like finish
Yeah,
the
no,
whole
so
thing.
we were
It's
just
harder.
playing like against each other, like doing
Oh,
the team
matchups?
challenges where exactly, where you play like co-op basically. So full review coming on the channel for Mario Kart. No.
Fun. You
I was
should.
I was gonna say, I listen. Maybe I am being a little bit tough on Naya. I don't like it that this got into her head, but it's because similar to Jordan, I want her to do better. I want her to just go out there and dominate. But then I think about Danny last season in Survivor when he got really pissed off about the win being taken away from him. And this is a double standard that I can recognize in myself. I was Team Danny all the way. I was like, yes, tell Jeff how bad that was, and like get production to squirm. And here I am saying, no, I should have just accepted it. So, and it's easy for me to say it because I'm sitting on the sideline. I'm not out there. I'm not playing. I don't have the $250,000 right in front of me, that I could be winning. So I appreciate it. I hate seeing Nia get so, like, even last episode, she was just getting really in her own head, and then she gets really in her own head again here, and she holds on to that. But she is justified, definitely. I understand where people are coming from.
I'd be fuming at Kayla. Like if I was in that house with Kayla this whole season, with her gloating and with her winning everything just because she was in like a power position the whole game, and then like you see her standing for like a lot of that competition, just like I don't know any of the answers, and then go and cheat on you and then lie about it. Like
Yeah.
I would have been worse than Naya. So you'd have been like, I can't believe you let her get in your head. I'm like, she's so annoying. She's in my head. I can't stand her. Like, yeah. I don't know if I'd be able to brush it off that easily.
I would have called it out, and then I would probably have tried to move my board so that way she would like it turn it 90 degrees so she could see it and be like, "This is what you want. This is what you want." I have all the answers.
Yeah, or just go have a look at Kayla's board at the same time as well and see what's going on there. But yeah, Diona, I think the reason I never played Mario Kart is because I grew up in South Africa and Nintendo wasn't really a thing growing up. Like
I think
it's
on
one of
Super Nintendo actually.
Oh, there we go. Oh, Super Nintendo. Like we don't really, we had like knockoff versions of Nintendo that they sold in South Africa, but I think it's like where I grew up, it just wasn't as accessible there. But then since then, there would have been many of opportunities for me to play it. I just never did.
Well,
I don't know why.
also, do you have in where you're living any like games places? Because like we have a place in Toronto, we'll say, called Rec Room, where you can go and just play different video games like for credits. And so it's kind of like, I don't know, Chuck E. Cheese kind of for big kids, for adults. And I've actually recently played Mario Kart, where you actually have like the wheel, and you go and you play against your friends or whatever. So there are adult places to have some old school video game fun.
Yeah, there definitely is places. I don't know why. I feel really bad. Like, I missed a big part of my childhood is now missed because I never played this. But hey, I'll make up for lost times. Like I am the cool uncle that can go over every now and again. Now I'm just gonna go visit them to go play Mario Kart. Just be like, I'll go visit them and say, hey, can we play some?
I don't
Mario
know if
Kart?
you're the cool uncle if you're not good at Mario Kart. So
yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, I'm the cool uncle because I let them win. And they're like, oh, look at him. We can win against them. We can't win against that. So
promoting
yes,
cheating?
come and play with.
I'm just kidding.
All right, so we end up finding out here in this challenge that we're gonna have. Who was the people who won? It was Wes who won, and Was it Naya who got it for the? No, Naya was last. Who won it for the females on this one? Forgot.
Johnny.
Janae, there we go. So Janae absolutely slaying it, going in with a head start here towards the final. There's a little bit of a scene at the house between Naya and Kayla, and they try and like make things right. Obviously, Naya's like, I didn't know you 4 weeks ago. I don't care if I ever see you after this. We don't have to be friends, which is fair. But the funniest scene for me prior to this whole, I guess, finale is the fact that you've got all the girls relaxing, having a good time, drinking, having a good night out, swimming, topless and everything, while Wes is getting his mind in the game. He's eating lots of carbs, drinking lots of water, and he's talking about the fact that some of the people that are going into the finals don't know what's coming for them. I found it really funny that it seemed to be the ladies of the house. They wanted to just have fun. They didn't care how they were going into the final. But I didn't see any of the guys out there drinking or partying going into the finale. They had their heads in the game this time.
Yeah, I'm not sure why the women were so relaxed. But yeah, like I love the fact that Wes is like I'm coming here to win. I'm not I don't need to have a glass of wine and go topless swimming like at midnight when there's a final coming. Like I know the final's gonna suck. I know that it's going to be exhausting, and I definitely do not want to be at all dehydrated or tired. So, I mean, it probably is his experience coming into play here. I'm wondering why Janae was still partaking in it, just because she has gone to the last 2 finals. Maybe they weren't that competitive comparatively, how West is kind of going to be approaching this final. I don't know, but I was surprised about that. It seemed though that Kellyanne wasn't drinking, or at least she wasn't drinking the wine with them, because she had a rock classic, because it could have been like soda water or vodka soda even, but it didn't seem like it was the wine or alcoholic like the other women were drinking. So there's something.
I was actually very surprised we didn't get anything from the guys really when coming back from the house. Like they didn't have a toast. I'm sure that they did something. I'm sure that they played some pool and talked about like what a crazy journey and was laughing, but they weren't anywhere in the pool. The only time we really saw them was Wes by himself in his tighty whities flexing really hard. I got a whole kitchen full of baguettes and Nutella, so I'm on that Wes body goals diet. But then you had Mark getting a massage from Kellyanne, and that's it. That's all we saw from the guys, which was kind of shocking. I thought we would get like a mixture of both the women celebrating in the dining room while the guys were maybe at the pool table
doing push-ups.
Yeah, we got nothing, which was really kind of shocking to me. So I think that's another faux pas for the editing, I think.
Yeah, especially because we know Wes, Nehemiah, and Brad are all very close friends. Like you'd expect them to be talking about the fact how they were at each other's weddings, or we had them at Wes's wedding, for instance. You would expect there to be something, and hey, we've made it, the 3 of us, into a finale as friends going in here. But yeah, very interesting, different strategies being sort of used here going into the finale. But I did like the fact that in this finale, they go on a plane and they're on a secluded island, completely outside of Panama City, which means that hopefully they've had a lot of time to set everything up on this finale, in advance. And we're not going to get the same podcast interviews after the season of people complaining that things weren't set up before they got to the checkpoints and they were told to go back and run in a different direction, like Melissa and Nehemiah last season, where they went to they skipped a couple of checkpoints.
Melinda.
And then they were,
I was like,
oh, sorry, Melinda. And they told him to turn around, at that point. So hopefully we don't get that this time. I like the fact that they're sort of using a separate location where they're going to be doing this. And quite interesting, because we wouldn't have known it just by looking at the screen, is the fact that we got told that it's extremely humid when they go there, and we're going to see people struggle with cramps and dehydration throughout this challenge, because I feel like that's one of those things that we just can't envision, we can't see it. Like it looks like a nice sunny day, but when Brad falls on the ground and he's got issues with his calf, we might be saying, oh, he didn't train or condition right for the final. But when you look at humidity and things like this, it can get the best of us. No matter how fit you are out there, you can actually struggle. So I was quite interested with the conditions they were playing in. It looked very tropical, looked very jungle-like out there, basically.
Before we start getting into the final, I do have to say that I very much enjoyed Wes and Kellyanne having a little bit
Oh,
of a
yes.
conversation about their relationship. This is what Drew and I were talking about either last week or the week before, where we wish that we were using some of these previous relationships to tell some story and just show some past, scenes of what's happened in years ago. And so I like seeing that they evolved in their relationship. I like seeing that Wes still wants to make a little bit of a dig at her, saying that she's still like the most annoying person ever. I like the fact that she just like takes it and is happy that she's there. Like I like their dynamic. I thought it was a fun scene, and I just wanted to honor it, mention it.
Yeah, I just watched The Ruins and Fresh Meat 2 this past week or so. And that was basically their whole relationship arc on the challenge. And I did like that moment too, after going back, watching it pretty recently and then seeing it, them at least have a conversation.
Yeah.
So at least something came from this fluff.
Yeah,
that
and they
did.
seem like they respect each other. Both of them seem really calm. Like you said, even though he says you're a bit crazy, she accepts it, and there's no she knows there's nothing more than just him saying that, basically. And they've known each other for so long, and it's not very often in life that when you break up with someone, you end up
play a game with them.
10 years or 15 years later, you're on the same show in the same house with them. So yeah, it was a cool moment, and thanks for bringing that up. I completely glossed over it as we moved on to the final here. But interestingly enough, we get to the final. The rules get explained to us here. We're going to have people racing from checkpoint to checkpoint. They're going to be in different pairs. The pairs are going to be set up in a way where whoever won the last challenge, they will be paired together, and vice versa going down to whoever was placed last place. We've got a couple of different pairs here. Wes and Janae, they get a 30-second head start. I believe it was 30 seconds in between, or I'm not too sure if the rest of them all started at the same time, but Wes and Janae gets a 30-second head start. Kayla and Naomi together, Kellyanne and Mark, and Naya and Brad are going to be in this first one. We get told that they're going to run to the checkpoint. Whoever gets there first will get 4 points. The second will get 3, third 2, and then last will get 1 point for each of those checkpoints. But we will also then have matchups like we explained in the beginning of the podcast, where you will have to choose someone to go up against one-on-one to win a bonus 5 points. So there's a lot of points to keep track of here. The first time I watched it, I just watched it and I didn't pause it. But when I was taking notes, I had to pause and rewind back. What did you say about this one? Because I feel like for a casual viewer, there's a lot going on with these points coming into the final.
There was a lot going on with these points, but and I didn't mind that as much. But what I minded, and I mentioned it already, is I wish that you couldn't be paired up with the same person that you're paired up before. I think that was a strong part of how they did season 1's finale, because the fact that Kellyanne is getting weighted down by Mark twice. Yes, she hasn't been great at her matchups. Fine. But she's never going to be able to get there first, because she's going to continuously being matched up head to head with Mark, because they're going to be equally doing it poorly. And so it's just really frustrating just to see that it's like the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Like the people that are doing well are going to do even better, and it's just going to make the point spread really a lot wider. And so that was what was frustrating with me. I don't mind the point system. I think that it could really work. I just don't know if the matchups being with how you finished, if that is working for me.
I mean, devil's advocate, you have to perform to get a better partner is the kind of way to go about it.
Yeah,
but I will agree with you that doing something in a checkpoint isn't necessarily one-to-one better running type of thing. If anything, they should be able to pick their partners of whoever wins the checkpoint can pick who they want to be their partners. That's what I don't like about it, is that they can't even pick their partners. So why even partner them up on the running portion if it's going to be?
Or they could have just gone. They could have just gone season 37 and let the last place person pick who they want to run with, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, true. Let's go.
But
so I mean, winning this whole thing.
No, I totally agree. I understand, do better and you get a better partner, but it's they're not doing the checkpoint with their partner. So it's just it's I don't know. It just doesn't seem like the fairness works out in a way that's satisfying to me. Yeah, she's not doing that well. Yeah, Mark's not doing that well, but I still feel as though there should be something that's shaken up a little bit for them to be in a different position.
Well, even to that point, they're getting points individually. So why even have them running in partners anyways? Because we have Brad coming
Sure.
out of the second checkpoint, running to the third checkpoint, and now he's waiting because John A is in the back with the pack, and he's so far ahead, and he wants to make up these points, and he could make up these points if he was able to do them individually. So why is there even a partner portion?
Agreed.
If by the time we get to a checkpoint, we're doing this individually, going head to head to somebody to get 5 points. It's just that's the problem. That's the biggest problem I have is the partner running. It makes no sense to me. Why? Just like why?
Yeah. Yeah, just basically, yeah, you're right. It forces you to work in a team. And Brad is really struggling here at the moment. I think in the first round he had Naya running with him, and Naya's, her
Limping.
knee is bandaged really. I don't know what she did to her knee, but she was struggling to run, I think. So he was kind of held back there. He's got different people that he's going to have to run with here, but not necessarily the best runner. So that really prevents him from being able to move forward. And I sort of complimented him a couple of episodes ago for being so mature and how he dealt with Naya trying to motivate her. I think he's almost unraveling. He hasn't unraveled yet, but I feel like he's like on the verge of just having like a meltdown because of the fact that he can't move freely here. So I'm not a full fan of it either, but I mean, this is the challenge, and they do different things in finales all the time. Like, I would say, are we surprised by the format and the way that it is currently? I am not so surprised. I feel like I've had a few seasons to watch now where we've had these different things. I still prefer the way they did it in the Challenge All-Stars 1. I still think that's the best final we've had. That's why All-Stars 1 for me still is the final, and maybe even the season. It's hard because this season had such a good cast so far, and we haven't seen it play out yet, but I really think that they did it well in the finals in All-Stars 1.
Yeah, I didn't feel like people didn't have a chance. You know what I mean? Like here, it just feels as though if you mess up and you have the wrong matchup and you don't solve a puzzle quickly enough, then you're all of a sudden you're unable to really get yourself out of that mess. And so, with like how Janae worked with in season 1, she was like strategic about it. She's like, oh, I would want to have this partner for this type of leg of the final. So like the writing stuff, let me get this person, but I would want to have this person for the running part, and I want to have this. So like I would like to be able to see a little bit of that strategizing instead of just being forced with somebody that's sucking as equally as you, and so that you can't really get ahead.
Yeah. Val brings up a point here. She says probably because the guys would finish way ahead of the women, they would have to film longer if they were to get them to run separately. It is possible, but I do feel like, yeah, I guess it's similar. Even in All-Stars 1, there were different pairings, but it was you were paired with different people at different times, which made it a little bit fairer. It's something that can work through, I think, when it comes to that. But coming into this first checkpoint, it was quite interesting. We had Wes versus Brad going head-to-head. We had Nehemiah versus Mark, Janae versus Naya. Naya doing what I think a lot of people wouldn't have expected here from the start, and she beats Janae one-on-one to take the points here from Janae. And Kayla versus Kellyanne. Kayla winning that one, Wes winning, and also Nehemiah beating Mark. And there was some great funny moments in this finale with Nehemiah rowing his boat coming back in and using both sides of it like a paddle when there is no paddle on the other side. But his unorthodox way of rowing still beat Wes's more calculated way of rowing being out there. I thought that was a really funny moment. And then we also, see in this next leg, the tandem bikes, which was my favorite, to be honest. I love a good tandem bike. I was like, TJ is sitting watching the videos, laughing his ass off at these guys trying to
not even
bike up a
tandem
hill.
mountain bikes. Like they're like they're
Old
like
school bikes.
What are they called?
From the 50s or the 40s.
Cruisers. Like they're not even like a bike with gears. You probably have to press backwards
and Mark
to
breaks
stop it.
another bike. Like, how does Mark do this? Like, is he just too big for the bikes?
He's a monster. He's just like, and just like breaks the chain.
They have to make like custom bikes for Mark now. Like, if I was Mark, he's part of production apparently, or some sort of executive producer or something to the show. I'd just be like, my clause in my contract moving forward is that I get a custom made bike for the finals every single season. Doesn't matter if I don't make it, but if I do make the final, I've had it with these bloody bikes. Give me a custom-made bike that, something that The Rock Dwayne Johnson could sit on and he wouldn't break it, basically.
I don't know if I'd like that portion of the being on a bike that's not great for the terrain. Like it seems nightmarish. Basically, being like you're putting us on a cruising city bike in like the Amazon, or I'm not sure where they are exactly, but in a rainforest. It seems
Panama.
Panama. It just seems like a nightmare. TJ.
Yeah. The one thing I wanted to bring up was Brad going down with a dag nabbit. What is it called? A spasm?
Yeah.
Cramp.
Charlie Horse.
Charlie Horse. Any more synonyms that we can come up with? Muscle contraction. But he was having it
too
really
much
hard.
lactic acid. Sorry.
I thought he was gonna pull a Zach or a CT or somebody that was like just like he seemed hurt, and then Kellyanne again with her massaging ability just punches that thing out of his leg, and then
magic hands.
The next running portion he's way ahead of everybody. So I'm like, he got that thing worked out pretty quickly, and he was seeming like he was super fine at that point.
Yeah. I feel like we all need a Kellyanne in our lives, especially, as you get older and you're doing a lot of workouts and the body doesn't recover the way it used to, you need someone with some magic hands. I'll take the crazy with the magic hands any day.
I love crazy. Crazy people are fun.
Yeah, they're fun, but do you really want to be in a relationship with a crazy person? I don't know. I feel like that's like a little bit. It depends on how you like to live life. If you like to live on the wild side, then why not?
Kind of fun. I definitely don't like boring. So
yeah,
I mean, not a lot of partners in finals would sit there and massage you in the middle of the final before going into a checkpoint. Most people would just like pull on you if you're tethered together or yell at you, which I mean, rightfully so. If you're in the finals and you're crying about a cramp, I mean, work it out, Zach. But yeah, that's how I think it just shows the type of person Kellyanne is and the type of competitor that she's willing to get down on the ground and punch her leg until it feels better to where you can get 3 sweet points coming into another checkpoint.
Oh, I hope there's a chance for her to catch up.
So going into this next one, we get to a board with stars on it. And what I wrote down here is Brad's strategy is he loves green. And he's just going to look at where green is on the whole thing. And he's just going to use that too. I was like, what are you talking about? You love green, And, he got the job done. He was like third. I guess he wasn't last. But definitely not a solid strategy going into this. It looked complicated. I'll be honest. I feel like this is the type of thing I would struggle with. Because not only is it a memory challenge and remembering the different stars that are out there, but you've also got to memorize the patterns with all the different colors. There's a lot of layers to this thing. And I'm man enough to say I probably would have sucked at this. I wouldn't have done much better than Brad or Mark, to be honest.
I mean, I think that Naya had the best strategy. She recognized that it was only the bottom point that had any sort of differences. And so she was able to really suss that out a lot more quickly. So you just have to remember then the 8, I think it was 8 or is it 9? Anyways, however many there were across, like remembering that order, you could do that in 4 trips. So maybe even 2 trips if you have a really strong memory. So I didn't think it was that hard, especially with her figuring out the optimum strategy. But yeah, I'd be okay with stuff like that. I'm okay with colors and deciphering things that are different. Usually, maybe under the pressure, maybe I'd suck. I actually don't want to claim that I'd be amazing at everything. Because,
and then we see you out there in Fresh Meats 3, and you don't pull it through.
Yeah, I would be beating myself up though, for sure. So at least it would be entertaining if I sucked.
Yeah, so that would be the strategy to go. Fixate on one point, know the colors, and then just memorize the colors going. Like if somebody was just sitting there trying to memorize exactly like top blue, red, white, red, left, right, 7. It was like, no, you're going to be dead. I will say that the editing on this portion, I think this checkpoint didn't take nearly as long as the other checkpoint because this checkpoint seemed really funky in the editing because there was one point where Mark runs up to the board, everybody's at the board, and then you see like Mark run. And then the next instant, Mark was back at the board looking at the board. And I was like, what? Like, and then the next moment when they zoom out is that more people are at the board with Mark. And it looked exactly like the same as the first one before they zoomed in on Mark, who was, it was like, am I doing a double take? Like, why are you doing this? Like, I think it just took maybe Wes, like Chantel was saying, 2 trips, and it took Nia maybe like 3 trips, where comparatively it took maybe Brad 5 trips. So I don't think that there was, and it didn't seem like that board was that much farther up the trail than where they were stationed at with the boxes. So I just think that this checkpoint was a little bit quicker, but they needed to stretch it out a little bit. So I kind of like got lost in the editing a little bit, going like, how is Mark here again? Like, did he do a fake out where he was like, oh, I'll run back. Oh, okay, I'm gonna look at the board again. All right, and then now I was like, no, stop it.
I just want to point out here, Certified Soft really enjoyed the pulling a Zach comment that you made there, Drew. Also saying, imagine if Brad was paired with Kayla while he got the cramp. I don't think Kayla's got the magic hands to help him solve that issue. And then also, for all of our American viewers, there is enjoy the 4th of July. I believe that's Independence Day, right? Drew's the only American.
Well, it's Canada Day here, you know.
Canada Day as well.
So.
Oh, there we go. I didn't know that. I learned something new. Canada Day. And
also Princess Diana's birthday. Rest in peace.
Wow. I feel like I'm being educated here, which is
on British,
British qualities. So for all of our American and Canadian listeners, you know, enjoy the 4th of July. Learn something new here. Also, one of the things that stood out for me really on this final is, you know, I kind of joked about it a little bit in the beginning, but Wes saying, you know, he's been holding back. He's been, you know, having his one hand tied behind his back.
Please,
and he had his leg. He was like jumping on one leg, hobbling throughout the season, doing his best to throw all these challenges. But now it's time to like stretch his legs. I don't believe it for a second. I think he got beaten a few times this season, but obviously he knows what to say to the cameras. But he is great at finals, right? Like, what is it that makes Wes so good at these bloody finals? Because he is taking away all of the points. He hasn't lost a single point yet. Sitting at 18 points at the end of this episode with Nehemiah, his closest competitor, at 15. And let's not forget, 5 of those points were from stars. Like, he would have been 18-10 ahead. Wes is killing it. And once again, showing us why he's one of the best. What is it that makes Wes so good at finals?
I think he trains. Like we know that we see like Nelson training and Corey training, but they only train their body. I think that he trains other stuff. I think he watches the show. I think that he knows what could happen. He thinks about what the optimum strategy is. He may not share it and show it, but I think he does a lot more work as to what is potentially going to be coming up and what to expect. I don't know if you guys watched Big Brother Canada season 5. Well, that particular winner, he had an entire book of all the different competitions that there have ever been in the late game, and he studied them and he learned the Bible, and he was able to game the system at the end because he had an idea of what he needed to be studying the whole season, what he needed to know, what kind of competitions potentially would come up. And so I think that Wes does similar type of studying because he's a fan of the game. He's been on for so long that he kind of just knows a little bit better as to how to perform and what to work on and what is going to be important to focus on. So I think he's a better competitor in finals.
Respect.
1,000% what Chantel said, but I agree that I think he trains more and I think he trains better than the other guys. I think that the other guys, including Brad and Mark, work out their physicality of their bodies, but not necessarily maybe the aspect of running, especially Mark, who is pulling up a lot on these finals. And I want to say that out of everybody who has made that strategy remark of saying, I've been throwing challenges, I almost feel like Wes actually means that he threw some challenges. I mean, you can't go back and be like, oh, if I could have gotten around this one guy, he wouldn't have tackled me or something in the mud pit daily challenge. But I do think that there was times where maybe he didn't give it 100% or was willing to take the L, to be like, I would rather hold back. And then maybe people who haven't watched the show in a long time or don't really know my resume in finals will kind of just let me go on a pass here, because we do hear Mark on the starboard checkpoint saying, Wes is a sleeper. I mean, he's coming into these finals doing great. And I'm like, a sleeper? He's doing exactly what I thought he was going to do. What are you
that's why you're
thinking about?
It's
your first pick. Like, all 3 of us wanted Wes. No cap. Like, we all wanted Wes as our number 1 pick. And if you didn't go first and you didn't pick him first, he would have been off the board. So how he's a sleeper is beyond me. And maybe you're right. Maybe that strategy did work. Maybe legitimately people thought, West lost to Devon the last time he was out there. He's lost to Bear in eliminations recently. They're like, no, this guy's over the hill. He's gone. And that might have it shouldn't have. But again, like you guys said, these guys don't train their minds. So, for some of the reason they just slipped on him and thought, he's over it. Like he's not going to continue to be in the game. But the one thing I do love about West when he sort of talks here in the final, he says that he loves this game. He's not here for the money. Like he wants to win. He wants the title. He wants everything that comes with it. And that's why he's so good, because he takes this game very serious. I think there's only a few people that takes the game this serious, and those are all the greats of this game. So we haven't spoken much about the women's and sort of where they're sitting here in the final. We do have Janae with a slight lead going into the episode of 15 points. You've got Naya on 13, Kayla on 12, and then Kellyanne is completely out of it. I didn't see that coming. I thought Kellyanne would be a lot more competitive, but like Chantal rightfully pointed out, there were times here in the final where she wasn't really running with the best person. She had a very interesting strategy on the raft when she was out there in the water. And she's like, I'm not going to waste my energy to come back. Like production can come and get me. Smart, very smart. So will that pay off if the points only accumulates to a 30-second head start in the final, and then the final leg is run up this mountain, or I don't think there's a mountain close to them on the island, but whatever they're doing in the end, maybe it comes down to a run, and that strategy could work. And she's been in a few finals now, so she knows that is a possibility that they could do something like that. But at this point, you've got to say she's completely out of it, and you've got to be, I guess, impressed by Naya and Kayla. You don't have to like Kayla, but still, if Janae didn't have the 5 points going into this, they would have been leading. Janae is leading because of the stars at this point. 2 points in it, 15 points. She would have been at 10 if she didn't have the stars. How do you guys feel? I feel like it's a close race between the women. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion at this point who's going to win.
No, I don't know who's going to win. But I'm worried because I don't know if it's too. Yeah, I guess we could talk about it. So in the preview for the next episode, there's a scene where Kayla is crying with Janae, and I'm just worried what that scene is all about. I'm worried that the scene, because Michelle was putting it into the atmosphere, that maybe it was because Kayla won and Janae came second, and that's why they're crying at the end. And I was hoping that they were going to have to go head to head and it was for a purge and they don't want to eliminate each other. That's what I'm hoping that it's for. But I'm just worried that because Kayla is on 38, that she might end up winning this season. And that is my least favorite outcome.
Yeah.
I just want to throw it out there that I love how close the race is on both the men and the women, but mostly the women. I mean, this comes down to just mere points. I mean, 3 points separates first from third. This could get very exciting, especially not knowing how the rest of the finals are going to go. Like there is one portion where it looks like they're wrestling one-on-one on top of a floating raft in the middle of the ocean, which looks very exciting. And it looks like maybe Janae versus Kayla would be the case, but I'm hoping that if that were the case, I would love Kayla versus Naya in a wrestling match. That would have been like the best like arc from the cheating to I'm going to dog walk her into this ocean and possibly drown her. And then there's the eating portion, which I can't tell who could win that. Like we haven't really gotten to where we've seen Naya eating, but we know
I don't think Naya's going to be an eater. I feel like
so
she's would be particular about her food.
But I mean, that's the exciting part of like knowing that there's steps coming in these finals. And I don't necessarily know. I've seen a lot of these players compete over many years, but we don't know exactly how they're going to compete right here, right now to this certain type of food. It's kind of like Darrell. He's always been able to do heights challenges, yet this season he wasn't able to. So it's kind of like, where are these players now? Kind of thing. I think Janae did a great job in All-Stars 1 eating and even last season's eating, but this stuff looks gross, like absolutely disgusting. And yeah, I can't
like rotten intestines, to be honest.
It looks.
Listen, all I'm going to say is, for the sake of baby Isis neighborhood, I'm hoping that
I
Caleb
laughed
does
when
not
I saw
win
this.
because he's about to go out there and cut down some tree houses in his neighborhood if she wins. So, Dolores here is asking, Dolores, welcome to the live. What other percentage of the night will be second or even first? It's a bit hard to math that out right now. I feel like she's got a 2-point difference between her and Janae. She's been doing a lot better than what we would have expected here. I think coming into a finale, not having seen her compete for quite a while. So I don't know. Like Janae's got the experience. Like conventional wisdom will say that Janae, like you said, there's a few things that's still up for grabs, and I feel like she's better prepared for how these finales end. You'd have to go with the form person, the person who just recently won. By the way, we kind of skipped over this for Janae as well, but I just remembered it now. There was that scene with her husband that she had as well, talking about how she misses her family. And I think we forget that she has been doing the challenge nonstop. Like there wasn't much of a break between All Stars 2 and All Stars 3. She's been away from home for a long time. Mentally, this must be taking a toll on them. And it's interesting, you know, like it just was in the back of my head. There was a lot of rumors this season. There's a lot of things going on. This can't be fun for them to watch afterwards, especially like because
on the
I still haven't
episode
seen
titled "Cheater, Cheater," she gets the Skype call
Yes.
from her husband. I was just like, "Is that shade, MTV? I don't know." But I thought it
Yeah.
was an interesting time to be able to show that that scene.
Yeah, interesting. I guess we addressed that previously. Until we know more or there's any real concrete evidence, I do think I wouldn't. I don't want to go into too much speculation there, but Dolores also saying the husband scene was suspect as well. Josh also here bringing up, I like Michelle's second theory, Chantel, or maybe this was yours. She's crying because they go back and review the tapes and take away her win for cheating in that challenge by looking at Naya's board. I feel like
I
they would
think
have
I
already
said
pulled
that,
it up.
but I don't
All
believe
right.
that it would be true. But I said that, I think.
Drew, how are we looking on points this episode? I think we need to get into some.
Who's the Kayla? Sorry, who's the Kellyanne of this point situation?
Listen, I think I've been the Mark for a very long time. I think Mark is the one that's the first. He's got 3 points. I mean, he's got 3 participation points for participating in the final up until this point.
So
right,
the points are actually looking. So the points are actually looking pretty decent. I will say there's a lot of jump ups because I've gotten to add the bonus points that we did. So kind of like what we were talking about with Mario Kart, but this time Mario Party. Sometimes you get extra bonus stars at the end for like going around the board a lot more times or winning the games during the game. And so at the end you get extra stars. So we have extra bonus points to hand out. So all scores went up rather dramatically, especially making it to the finals, giving players 10 points each for just making it to the finals. Then we looked at to see who got the most daily wins on the season, which was Brad. So he got an extra 25 points for Chantel. And then most eliminations wins goes to John A and Mark. So they each get 25 points. And then most stars heading into the finals, John A and Nehemiah. So they get 25 points. And then most points heading into the finals was ultimately John A. So she got 25 points. Now we did have one that says winning phase in the finals. This would have worked last season where there was only 2 phases. So that was going to be a full 25 points. We decided to go back and just give players who win their head-to-head matchups in checkpoints plus 5 points. So you have John A getting 5 points for winning over Kayla. You have Naya getting 2 plus 5. So she got a total of 10 points for winning both of her phases. Nehemiah and Brad got 1 and Wes got 2. Mark got a big old dud of a goose egg there because he can't do nothing. And so was Kellyanne. So taking all that into account, plus confessionals and me losing Derrick, who got me a total of 2 points this episode for 2 confessionals on his way out the door after an abysmal, I'm just going to leave it there. Abysmal. So let's see who's in third place. And that is going to be Team Chris with Kellyanne and Naya.
How'd that happen?
You went up 62 points. 62 points this episode.
Wow.
So
but in comparison
to
the other teams,
yeah, but 62 is really good comparatively to the past couple of weeks. But I
feel like Drew, you need to be like a school teacher, you know, where they're handing out people for participating. It's like pat on the back, well done. Here's your participation trophy for being here this season. Let's be honest, I got it completely wrong this season. It's been tough.
I mean,
We
I mean, you
didn't
got
watch
some-
the trailer breakdown, so we came in blind. Come on.
Yeah, we came in with
gotta-
a handicap. That's for sure. That's for sure.
So Nia is your number one scorer with 86 total points. Really good. Kellyanne has 71. So I mean, that's
So
really,
you were
really
upset with
decent.
Nia at one point, Chris. So that's really
Nah,
great. That she's...
let's just go back and edit that out. Naya's my favorite of all time. She's bringing in the points. She's bringing the money home. It's like half of my points is Naya.
Literally.
Oh, basically, yeah. So coming into second place is Team Chantel, going all the way up to 103 points this episode, getting to 341.5 points. Brad is your number one scorer with 96 total points, especially getting that 25 plus bonus for winning so many daily challenges, even though that didn't equate to anything with stars to help him out in the actual finals. And Nehemiah is your second place with 85 points total. And then I am in first place with going up almost
900 points.
almost 200 points this episode.
You're so annoying.
I feel like you should be there with a little finger and be like, I've got 1 million points.
Chris, you did so amazing. You went up 60 points. I went up more than 3 times the amount of points that you did.
Oh.
So I went from 390.5 to 588.5 points.
I hate you. I can't stand you. Can't stand
With
you.
I know
John
this
A.
is killing Chantel.
With John A as my number one point scorer with 170.5 points. Mark has 100.5 points, and Wes has 82, and Kayla has 63. Kayla, pick it up. No, I'm just kidding.
Janae's got as much points as my whole team.
I'm winning.
Listen, this whole draft has been a lot of fun for the wrong reasons. We've been having a laugh at
There's
both
nothing on the line
myself
for
and
this.
No, Chantel, everybody's having a laugh at our expense on this draft. But I tell you what, there's going to be some comeback coming in the Challenge USA. I can't wait for that. I feel like the teams are very well split. I'm very confident about the people that I picked on that draft as well. They're getting a lot of airtime before the season even starts. So
yes. Do you know what? I have to say that I watched TJ on Rob as a podcast, and the people that he talks about a few times is he talks about Ben. He talks about Tyson. He talks about Angela. He talks about Alyssa. I think those are all the people that he kind of highlighted as people that could potentially cross over or that he thought were really great competitors. So he did have your Ben Bomber over there on his highly
Challenge
rated
bombs.
or ranked new player.
I can't wait. I can't wait for it. It's going to be a fun season. One of the things
I can't wait for Sarah to go out first, though. That will be my favorite.
Sarah, did you see how many people are fearing Sarah? Like, people are fearing Sarah.
I haven't seen the most recent trailer.
Like, everybody's like, who's the biggest person? Who do you fear the most for the women?
Oh.
Everybody is like Sarah. Like, we don't want to see her in an elimination. People are. She's coming in with a reputation. I don't think people are going to throw her in. But one of the things that for me was quite refreshing to see with some of these videos coming out, and I've been like casually and sporadically watching them throughout, is that there are a lot more people that are fans of the challenge than what I expected. I knew Kayla was a fan. I knew she watched it with her mom, but there's also people like Xavier who apparently watched it before. There's people like Alyssa. There's forgot the guy who's going to go on to the challenge, to the Amazing Race now with his girlfriend.
Derrick.
Derrick, yes, Derrick is a fan. There's a lot of fans.
No, this is a new fan. Derrick he never even watched Big
watch
Brother.
it before?
So okay. I think that he would have been a new fan. Alyssa did mention on the season that she watches this challenge, but she wasn't like a super duper duper fan. She's seen a few seasons or she's watched it a little bit. I think she asked Xavier about it and he didn't really know that much about it, but he might have watched it after his season was over, but I don't remember him being somebody that had watched it. But Alyssa was definitely a fan before, and she was trying to find out if anybody in the house also watched it. So
watch it, yeah.
Alyssa was a fan. I don't think Xavier was a fan.
Derrick, it's interesting because I feel like Xavier mentioned older players when he spoke about some of his favorite players. He mentioned older players, like Darrell was one of them that he mentioned. I feel like, but
Darrell's also been on the last 2 seasons.
All Stars, maybe, yeah, maybe the All Stars season.
The most recent seasons of the main season as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So it could be, it could be some of the more recent seasons. I feel like if, because it's funny, a lot of them are saying, RCT or Bananas, and it's like, yeah, okay, well, it's the two biggest names in the challenge. You're supposed to know who they are at
And
a very
maybe
minimum.
they did like the Fessy education where he just went to look for clips online of like the best moments of the challenge. And then you're like, oh, okay, so yeah, Darrell, okay, he's won a lot. Or, you know what I mean? Like highlights, maybe.
It's possible. It's possible. But I will say one thing, and again, I know I'm the highest on it. There's going to be the season itself still needs to play out, and it could go in any direction. But I am enjoying the little clips that they're giving us so far. We've been asking for a long time that we want people with personality to be on the challenge instead of just picking athletes to come and play the game. I do think that we've got a lot of great personalities on this cast. So there's a lot of potential for it to play out in a great way. So I'm hoping everybody brings their A game and that they do well. Again, cautiously trying to be optimistic here, and hoping that Tyson was trolling a lot of us about how bad the show was put together on his podcast. But is there anything we didn't talk about, guys, here on this episode of All Stars? I feel like we kind of covered everything.
Wait, did you guys tell me what you thought that's the preview with them hugging each other and kind of crying? What do you think that means?
I don't know. To be honest, I kind of
probably analyzed it. What was going on? What was in the background?
He did like a 15-minute video on a 5-second clip.
Was it tears of joy, of tears of sadness?
I honestly don't even know what I don't even remember. I can't recall the scene. Like, I don't necessarily watch the previews a whole lot, so I just saw the two big things of food, and then I saw people wrestling, and I was just like, that's cool, and exit, let's go, and kind of like it ran off.
Yeah, was that Wes and Nehemiah that were going up against each other? It kind of looked like it.
I think
in
so.
the wrestling portion. Yeah,
I do think so.
That's interesting. I wonder if that's like a checkpoint head to head with different people, or if it's like a mini elimination in the finals where they're going up against each other.
I almost wonder if it's like a first come, first serve, and like they would rather not go up against each other, but to leave the checkpoint earlier, they kind of have to do it.
Have to.
So they kind of just go after each other. And it's like, if Wes wins it, he takes a huge lead, getting 5 points on top of his 18 compared to Nehemiah, who has 15 points. So I don't know. Hopefully it's later on. I want it to be a later on checkpoint.
Yeah. It's interesting here. Dolores saying TJ was praising of Tyson, while Tyson's kind of like insinuating that the show wasn't as well put together. I feel like TJ doesn't take that stuff too personal. Like, I don't think how involved is TJ really at putting stuff together on the show? He's not like Jeff, right? He's not the main guy who does everything and plans it. He probably doesn't take it as personal if things didn't work out.
I mean, I don't know if he's involved in that way. He seemed in the interview to be really proud of the MTV show, and he seemed to be really excited that these new, because he was considering these CBS shows, like this is like the Super Bowl of shows, and like these are like people are on like these big shows, and like it's just little MTV at the challenge that we've been on for the last 20 years. And so it seemed to me that he was fanning a little bit on the caliber of the people that are coming to play. But I don't think that he really has anything to do with behind the scenes. I think he gets his lines and he shows up on the ATV. Like, I think that's kind of the extent of his involvement of each challenge.
Yeah. Dolores here says that. Oh, sorry, you go ahead, Drew.
No, I was just going to say that I know he takes it very seriously. Like, from when he was like considering becoming a fireman at the end of Dirty 30. And then when that didn't pan out, he kind of was like, I'm going to really, I remember hearing an interview and he was like, I actually wanted to like work on my skill. Cause as a host for so long, he was like, I worked on it. I got better. I didn't stammer as much. I was actually hitting lines and hitting my marks. But it was after Dirty 30 that he was like, I'm going to rewatch back my episodes. I'm going to rewatch how I said something. And then I'm going to try to work on it. And I think maybe he's just getting more and more excited that they're probably talking up how big the show can be, how many millions of viewers can watch it. If you do a good job, we can bring more people over to the MTV one. And I think that he's like, oh, I can really show off my chops. I mean, I've been working on this like hardcore for 31 to 37, now 38, and this show. I think that he's like finally like, I feel he feels proud in doing the hosting gig that he was doing. Maybe that wasn't prevalent in the beginning when he was still doing BMXing and thinking about other career paths that were never going to work out.
Yeah, I love TJ as a host. Like, I reckon he is maybe my favorite host right now. Like, definitely in the top two, top three of hosts out there. And he's just killing it for me. He's been doing it for a very long time. I love how he gets involved with the players. I love how he banters with them. The one thing I don't like is when he tries to fake us out when it's not effective. But I mean, listen, everybody's going to have some kinks, and that's probably not him. It's probably the show. You need to like play this up, But I think he's a great host. And he comes across so humble and just, someone that you can relate to. He's not above you. Like, I feel like, I don't know, it's so bad. Like, I mean, I'm a big Survivor fan, but Jeff, he doesn't seem like he's in touch with the fans, where I feel like TJ is more in touch and he's more at our level type of thing. So really hope it does work out well for him. Dolores here says, but TJ also said that some of the guys that were both, he expected them to do good, was disappointing, and that they were not going to do good at all. And I wonder who those are going to be.
I feel like that's like Xavier or something.
Oh, yeah?
Because I don't know. Because like you don't think it's Xavier?
I don't know. I mean,
No,
I just look at some of the Love Island people, and I just think the Love Island people don't know what's coming for them, and they look physically fit.
Oh, he also
can they play the
praised
mental
Danny
game?
as well. Danny was another person that he thinks would. He said that he thinks that Danny could take Nelson running. He's faster than Nelson. I was like, oh
Wow.
I see that.
Big calls, eh? But I mean, now obviously, with Danny, he was a pro athlete, so you expect him to come in here and do reasonably well. I mean, he was a first pick, right, for you, Drew? I believe in the draft. He was your
I think
first.
it's me.
Was
Danny?
you? Oh, who's
Danny's
it? Okay, Danny, your first male pick.
I
No,
believe.
you were Tyson. You were
Oh,
Tyson.
Tyson,
without
but I think
draft.
I have Danny though, don't I?
No, Drew had it.
Oh, maybe on my other draft.
Yes,
But I have
you do too many
Xavier as
drafts,
well.
Chantel.
So
Don't I? Do I have? Oh, yeah, I did. I did that draft already.
Yeah.
I believe.
I remember it now because it was Tyson, then it was Drew took Danny, I wanted Danny, and then I went for Ben. So those were our first three guys that we picked. And funny
and I
enough, all of them are getting
Danny.
mentioned. All of them are getting mentioned. Like, I feel like all of our top picks are highly being mentioned.
Angela's
at this
getting
point.
mentioned. She was my top girl.
Yeah. I don't think TJ mentioned Sarah, but the people there, the cast is mentioning Sarah, so I'll put that out there. Yeah, I guess that's really it here. I just wanted to thank again Lovable Nikki for being a great moderator today, looking after the chat. Not that I feel like Lovable Nikki didn't have to do much or any work today because the chat's been so great. You guys have been awesome asking your questions and being a part of this live conversation. We've got one more episode left of the Challenge All Stars. We will be crowning a new champion. 2 champions for All Stars 3. It's going to be a male and female winner, as far as we know, unless they change that up last minute on us next episode, which I don't think will happen. One person gets to steal all the money. Imagine that. West gets to the end and takes all the money from Kellyanne. So it could be a big bombshell, but I don't think that'll happen. I think we'll have a male and female winner.
Mm-hmm.
And then after this, we're pretty much rolling straight on, and we're just going to continue to keep the good times rolling, right? Because is there like a week break, or I feel like it's directly into the Challenge USA.
So are we going to do like a little bit earlier on Friday for All Stars and then do a little bit like at 9 or something?
Yeah, let's figure that out. I'll put it onto the community page. I'll tag both yourself, Chantel, and Drew in that as well, so you can share it with your communities as well. We'll work out how the time slots are going to work, but definitely we'll probably do All Stars, I would assume, at this time, because we've been doing it at this time the whole time. And I've got a feeling we may do like a little break in between and then just cover back-to-back 2 separate lives for both. But we'll problem solve it. We'll figure it out. We'll let you guys know. Chantel, if you're not busy enough, what's happening this week? What's going on?
I'm getting scared because busy's starting. It's not here yet. I mean, I'm only doing...
It's a sleeper like West. It's a sleeper. It's
exactly
sneaking up on you.
Every day doing a Love Island UK recap and review. So it's usually at 6:15 Eastern. Saturdays is our off day because there's no episode. Then come Wednesday, things are going to get a little bit wild because I will be going probably live after the Challenge CBS and then maybe doing a late night Big Brother recap. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. I'll do both of them on the same night. It'll just be a little bit late for Big Brother. So that's what is going to be happening starting on Wednesday. On Tuesday, I believe I'm also going to start the Amazing Race Canada with Phil. I will also be with Sarah from Nerdtainment to do a draft with her and her channel. On Thursday at noon, I'll be doing a recap for Beverly Hills, the Housewives, and then back with you two twice on Friday, and then Sarah on Saturday with the Challenge CBS as well. I think that's what I think I got it. And then the following Mondays is Bachelorette.
Busy week ahead for you, Chantal. But you'll get. I mean, you're talking about the shows you love, right?
Absolutely, I do. I mean, and all the it's the summer of all my favorite shows. So I'm
so many new shows dropping, Snake on the Grass, Traitors.
Oh my God,
we had people asking. We had people asking in the live last week about both those shows, and at this point,
I'm watch
thinking
them. I don't know if I can cover them though.
Exactly. I may do short videos, 10-minute, 12-minute videos if I do cover it, but we'll see, because I've got a few things planned over the next couple of months, so it might be difficult to commit to everything at the same time. I want to make sure that I can commit and follow through if I do those seasons. But Drew, you're going to say something here.
Oh, I signed up for Peacock earlier today because I wanted to watch The Northman again, and I didn't realize that Love Island US starts on July 19th. So I mean, if that's something else you're going to be covering alongside another Love Island, oh my gosh.
Well, hopefully, the UK will be almost done, because we're on episode 20, episode 29, I believe, on Sunday. So we're halfway through. So hopefully it'll be done soon, and so there won't be too much overlap. Yes, Sarah from Nerdtainment will be watching The Challenge CBS. Now, she's never really been interested in MTV's The Challenge, but because she knows all the players that are going to be on the CBS version, she's inclined to watch this one and recap it. So yes, she will.
I feel like there will be more new podcasters jumping out of the woodwork now that there's going to be some CBS players. Maybe even Rob, right? If he was the one who spoke to TJ.
They've always been, Ali and Brian have always been doing a podcast about the challenge and All-Star. And so I don't know if he's going to be doing one, but they're going to be doing exit interviews, I believe. And so he probably will be in on the exit interviews. I don't know if he'll be doing a weekly recap though.
Rob, get amongst it. Adrian's asking, what about Survivor SA, Chantal? Do you have time to add that to your very busy schedule?
The only thing that I'm thinking of is maybe with Sarah from Nerdtainment just doing a watch party on Twitch. The 4 episodes a week is just too much. And even to recap just once a week, still taking notes for 4 episodes it's kind of tiring. So that's on the 19th as well, right?
Yes, I believe the 18th. It's on a Monday on July. Yeah, the 18th of July it starts. It's going to be full on. If
I get into a good rhythm and I can figure out how it could fit in, maybe. But as of right now, my evenings are kind of tight.
I could never do as much as you guys.
But you have a job.
I've got a full-time job that can be intense. But Survivor South Africa, definitely, that's one of the core shows we will obviously, Adrian, cover on my channel. If Chantal does not cover it herself, if that is the case, or even if she does, but I don't want to add to her stress. If she doesn't cover it herself, I will try and get Chantal on to do it with myself and Richard or Zoe, at least.
I'll come on for sure. I love coming on and just talking and not having to take notes, even though I'll still take notes. Because
people want to hear your thoughts, So if you don't do it yourself, we'll get you into a mid-season review or the end of the season or something. We'll try and get you involved so people can hear your thoughts on the show. Because you'll be watching, right? Even if you can't cover it. I'm hoping.
I 100%. I say yes to coming on and chatting. Anytime, I'm usually pretty good about coming on and talking about a show. It's always just the taking notes that I'm sometimes I just want to watch it. So yeah, I will come on whenever you ask. That's a good idea. It's a good idea. If it was
Yeah.
really lucrative right now, I probably would figure out how to do that.
On that note, I know we're dragging it out. The best stuff always happens towards the end of the podcast in any case. But you guys probably haven't had an opportunity to check out my video, the latest one that I did on Australian Survivor. They've just announced, or Inside Survivor
Heroes
has
versus
a
Villains?
rumored season of Heroes versus Villains coming. How do you guys feel about a Heroes versus Villains season where half of the returnees, or half of the cast is returnees, and half of it will be newbies coming into a Heroes versus Villains season? Like, first thoughts.
I just think it's unfair for the newbies. Just because like they're coming in at a big disadvantage for the fact that these people have already played before. They've already made some sort of legacy for themselves already, and they know what to expect. I just don't know if the newbies will get together and be able to take on any of the heroes or the villains that are previous or returning players. So I like the concept. Obviously, I like heroes versus villains, but maybe do it like an all newbie seasons where people that are saying like, I'm going to come in and manipulate everybody, with people like, I'm going to be the sweet person, and like maybe have it just all newbies, or make it a regular returning season where everybody is a hero or villain that's already previously played. I just don't think it's that fair. Like, look at, we just saw on South Africa, right?
Yeah.
Was it South Africa? No, it was Australia. Sorry.
Australia with Blood versus Water and Mark, and the returnee players were just running circles around everybody.
And they weren't even that many of them.
And it happens all the time. Like, even if you look at the US, like, I feel like it's very rare that a returnee player doesn't win. But Drew, your thoughts on the concept? It might be the first time you've heard of it, because I know you're not sort of in the know-how of Australian Survivor, but how do you feel about that sort of, you know, legendary theme such as heroes versus villains being used in such a way where it's like basically a mixture between fans versus favorites? But Australian Survivor don't really cast fans that often. They more cast celebrities. So I feel like it will be celebrities in Australia that are known for villainous things or your heroic things that will go up against returnee players. I think that's what they'll do.
I don't get it. To be fair, like, I saw your community post, but it's like with heroes versus villains on the US show, they actually proved why they were on the villains tribe or the heroes tribe, or viewed that way because they played the game either once or twice before. Bringing in somebody new, they can talk all they want, but once they're in the game, they could completely shell up. I mean, how many times, Chantel, have we seen somebody on Love Island say, I'm going to crack on with anybody I want, and I don't care how many toes I step on, I'm going to take what I want. And then they get into the villa and they're like, oh, I just want to be everybody's friend. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I love everybody. It's like, get out of here, Mary Poppins.
Where's your accent from? Where would you
I don't
say
remember.
regionally?
It was like, it sounded like a mix between an Australian and a British accent. It was something in between.
I can't do Ekans Sue.
Ekans Sue?
Yeah,
I'm obsessed with Ekans Sue and Davide at this point. Like, they're my favorite.
Yeah, any case, so I know we're completely off topic, but I'm a little bit low on it. Go check out the video where I discuss it. Obviously, love Australian Survivor, wanted to succeed, but I don't know if this theme should have been used. They could have saved it maybe 5 seasons or something, bring back a full returnee cast of heroes versus villains and make it something truly legendary. And I just think that they're wasting the opportunity here. And also, yeah, we're not going to get everybody back that we want, I don't think. At this stage, but go check that out. It is on the channel. Drew, what is happening on your channel, I guess, over this next week? What sort of challenge content do you have coming up for us with a busy week of challenge content? We did have someone asking if the Challenge USA is starting this week. Yes, it is starting this week, so you'll be busy with that, I'm assuming, as well as the All-Stars content.
Yes, I will. Surprisingly, the opposite of Chantel, I'm actually taking a step back and then getting into some newer / older content type of format style. So just looking at this week, Sunday, I'm starting Endurance Season 5, which was very fun to film. And then you have a clip coming out Monday. I'm not going to do anything Tuesday, but come Wednesday is going to be the finale review, episode 10 of All Stars Season 3. And then Thursday will be the first review and recap of the Challenge USA. Friday, I will be here with Chris and Chantel talking about both of those seasons or episodes. And then come Saturday, I will be on Patreon doing a live Tiny Table Talk for the patrons that support me on the $3 and up tier. So I'll be doing Tiny Table Talks for the Challenge USA exclusively on Patreon coming up this season. I don't know if either of you heard the rumors, but the Untold History documentary that's going to be a 6-part documentary is supposedly coming out in August. So that just signifies to me that the Challenge 38 will be happening in September, which is very close to where I think that this season will wrap up. And then we'll get the announcement for the Challenge 38. So I want to switch around some of the formats and video styles where I'm not getting burned out on the same type of formats and videos throughout the whole year, because we could have another spinoff happening right after the Challenge 38 or in the middle of it. And then you're just doing the same like Groundhog's Day, but just different faces and different people that you're talking about. So I'm trying something new here. And that's what I'm going to be doing for now. I'll just highlight the next week's for now.
Yeah, you see, this is why I bring in some of my nullified takes to this channel, because I want to throw some takes in front of you don't think of yourself, and you're like, why does Chris think in this way? You know, I'm trying to keep it fresh for you so it doesn't feel like it's Groundhog's Day every time you come onto the podcast and you chat to us. But on the Nullified Take channel, we will be covering, obviously, with both Drew and Chantal, the Challenge USA and the Challenge All Stars next week. I should have some Survivor content popping up throughout the week. I sometimes don't know what is going to pop up. Like last week, I was on a call with Luke and he's like, let's just do the interview now. And I'm like, awesome. You're walking your dog. Let's get it done. He's out in the park. We're talking about Survivor Worlds Collide with one of the legends of the game over in Australia. And it was a lot of fun. I do have some other previous Survivor players internationally that I've been talking to about potentially coming on. So that could pop at any time, because when it comes to talking to some of these Survivor players, you're kind of on their schedule. If they can do it right now, you try and jump on and you do the interview as soon as you can. So so watch out for that. There may be some more things dropping before Survivor South Africa kicks off. There will be some preseason content that we'll get into as well. I'll probably have Zoe and Richard back on the channel with me next weekend, towards next weekend, to do our next bit of content for the preseason for Survivor South Africa. So really looking forward to that. Guys, it's been great talking to you today. A lot of fun. Thank you to everybody here in the channel. We'll catch you guys next time. As always, keep hope alive. Bye.